already like 5 minutes into the show, whatever.
It's alright, I don't even have notes this week again, so.
I sent them to you, though. You know that I sent them to you.
So you claim.
Oh, come on. don't put on that facade for the audience. That's not cool. What's up, everybody? This is Taryn Sleepy with TarynTheHype. You are watching episode number 13 of the TarynTheHype podcast. I think we're doing pretty good. I think this is going to... Feeling good about the show.
Feels like it's taken off. Yeah.
I think we're starting to get like our rhythm down. You know, a few weeks on podcast, a few weeks doing Let's Plays. You know, still have time to play. You know, but also record.
Yeah, it's working out pretty well so far.
You liking it so far?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool, man. Well, thank you again for being here.
This is my last episode of Taryn.
No, don't do that bullshit. All right, so if you guys didn't know, this is number 13. Of TarynTheHype Podcast. We are your number one podcast where you get to choose your review of things hyped or unhyped, whether it's movies, video games, or what have you. I am joined by the crowd-searching Krill and Flip. No?
I don't get that one. That's okay.
All right. How about this one? I didn't think of this one.
Well, don't burn through too many.
No, I got plenty.
Okay.
All right. The non-Broderick Ferris Bueller of his time, Matthew Marquez.
I mean, yeah, I'll take it. It's a very long name.
It's more like an introduction.
It's going to suck if I have to put that in a Scantron test exam. Fill in all those bubbles.
But, again, guys, first and foremost, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. We've had a lot of different activities in the last few weeks. The last 2 weeks, we've done a little Let's Plays with Resident Evil 7, as well as... we did some Overwatch Let's Plays and some Titanfall, and we just thank you guys for all of you tuning in. We have over 300 views on all of our episodes on YouTube. We have over 12 subscribers now on YouTube, so we're starting to grow. I actually have a few people who are interested in subscribing to Patreon, but they sent me some questions first, so we're getting some more emails from you guys. So we just appreciate you joining into the show. Hope you enjoy everything from here on out. So first and foremost, what you been playing? What you been doing?
Oh, a little this, a little that.
Oh.
Do you want to go first? I feel like I always go first.
Yeah, because I'm the host, and I ask you.
Fair enough.
What have you been playing, first off? And then you can say what you're watching if you're watching anything.
Well, there's this little game that came out. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's called Resident Evil 7.
Oh.
Right here.
That just came out.
It's pretty fun.
So
I'm really liking it.
So if you guys didn't tune in last week, we saw our Let's Play live of Resident Evil. Matt was hooked up to the VR. We have 2 videos on YouTube of him with the VR headset facing him, kind of like a Paranormal Activity sort of thing. Or we have one where it's just his gameplay, which is about an hour longer, but you can see more of the story and more of his gameplay and some boss battles. So tell me what you think about it, man. What do you think of the game so far?
It's been really cool. It's only the second Resident Evil game that I've put more than maybe an hour or two into it.
Okay.
Because I think we talked before, I tried to play the original Resident Evil game. Just couldn't get into it with the tank controls. I played it when it came out on the PSN as a digital download.
The PS4 one?
I didn't play the PS4 one. I played it on PS3, I'm pretty sure, as like PS1 Classics or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was trying to play through it, and I got not crazy far, but far enough that I'm like, I really am not liking this. Mm-hmm. And then the only other game that I've played longer than that would be Resident Evil 4, when I played it originally on GameCube.
Yeah, I watched you play that.
And then I played it on the Wii, and thought about playing it again on PS2. But I never beat that one either. I got probably like 2/3 of the way through the game. I got into the second disc on the GameCube game. But I know there was some stuff that I didn't come across. There was a couple weapons that I didn't get to yet. So
okay, so tell us about the audience. So I mean, as a person who's never heard of Resident Evil 7 or never heard of Resident Evil at all because they live in a cave or something like that, tell us about what's so great about Resident Evil 7.
So it's interesting. They changed perspectives. For a while, Resident Evil was all about fixed camera angles, being more of a cinematic presentation, which was very cool, very enjoyable. Made controlling the characters weird at the time because you're controlling left and right for which direction the character moves, and then up is always your walk forward, regardless of which way your camera is facing.
Right.
It's a weird thing to kind of wrap your head around, especially now. It feels very antiquated and stuff. Yeah. And then for a while, Resident Evil, starting with 4, moved the camera so it was over the shoulder and was more of like an action gamey feeling to it, which was pretty cool. And then they kind of took the series a little too far in that direction with a little bit too much focus on the action and not so much on the gameplay,
right.
exploration, puzzle solving type of stuff, or survival. But then this game seems to walk back that overstep, and then it brings you into first-person view. So you're wandering around this, I want to say plantation, but it's not a plantation.
Which it's one of the first Resident Evil games to do first-person view.
Yes.
Besides like the old like on-rail shooters they had in
on-rail
the past.
shooters, like on games, yeah. There was something else that came out on PS2, and I can't remember the name of it. I'm pretty sure you had it.
Yeah, I played through it. Me and Levi did.
Yeah. But it's interesting. I think it works really well. The environment lends itself great in first person. The whole concept of exploring a giant house and solving puzzles in first person works really well.
This, after watching you play, you can definitely tell. I mean, if you even watched the hints or if you want to check it out yourself, there are tons of reasons why if you are faint of heart or you get grossed out by a lot of disgusting things or uncleanly environments, this game will definitely kind of hit those needles on the point for you a little bit. It might kind of get to those. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I think it's too many analogies at once.
Make it more better.
It's
all the analogies. Just make it more better.
It's more better to have the gross and grotesque there in this environment. It just matches very well because they just kind of hit the nail on the head. There's an analogy there.
Yep, that was one.
When it comes to just being disgusting, being unclean.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest thing. Every time I watch you play, I'm like, this is so not clean. This is so...
Everything is super gross.
Yeah, it's like either expired or has...
It gets a little better.
Or like
the farther you get into the game, like the environments don't feel as dilapidated and completely disgusting like it does in that first section.
Like it was like when I watched you play, you're like, "Hey, do you want to try it out?" I'm like, "No."
It's still pretty gross.
I don't want to touch that.
There was a super disgusting boss battle that I did today, which I was kind of bummed out about because I was like, "Oh, this is not cool," but it was still fun. Like it was, I loved it. I have loved every minute playing this game, and I really want to keep playing it. And it's all I can think about playing.
That's good. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
So obviously you're liking the game. Is there any mechanics that are really jumping out to you that you haven't seen any other VR game yet that's in this VR experience, or just in this game in general as a Resident Evil game that really makes it better than the others?
It's hard to say. Because the thing I liked about Resident Evil 4 was that it felt really fun and actiony, and it gave me enough enemies without it feeling like too cheap.
Okay.
And being able to actually control where I'm aiming and explore the area better made that really nice. This game really, it seems like, because that's the only real comparison I have is comparing it against 4. The amount of enemies that I'm experiencing and coming across in 7 is way less. Like, I think it's more in line with how the first couple were.
Like frequency of enemies?
The frequency of
enemies,
enemies, yeah. Types of enemies is very low. I think it's like I can count on one hand how many types of enemies I've come across.
That's sad.
More or less, yeah. Like, it's not a whole lot of variety in enemies, but they're good enemies.
Yeah.
And it offers enough, like, there's moments where you have like somebody chasing you, or you have to run through areas that have lots of enemies, and so you have to decide if you're going to fight them, if you're going to run past them, or how you're going to handle that situation.
Okay. So they're more situational fights than actual like boss fights.
Well, I mean, no, there's still boss fights and stuff. I've gone through quite a few boss fights at this point.
Yeah.
I'm about like 2/3 of the way through the game, I think, based on the trophies, because there's like 6 story-related trophies, and I am at the 4th story-related trophy.
Stop doing that. You're ruining the story for yourself looking at the trophies ahead of time.
All I'm seeing is how many chapters there are. What is a table of contents in a book ruining the book?
I don't read table of contents, so
you can be like, oh, hey, there's 30 chapters in this book, or hey, I have this much pages left. Do you not look at the page numbers?
No.
You don't look at how many pages you're holding on to?
No.
You lie.
Everyone
looks at pages.
No, because I don't read books.
Fair enough.
No, but I mean, I read Ready Player One and like a few of the other books that I have read in my lifetime. Few books I've read.
1, 2, 3.
Yep, just about that. No, I mean, like, I don't want to know what's happening. I don't know what to expect. I don't want to know how long my journey is going to be. I don't want to know, well, something's going to happen soon because the end of the book's coming. I mean, yes, I have my observations of how many pages I can feel in my hand, thickness and things like that. But I don't want to know. I don't want to know that. Oh, there's 30 chapters. I'm on chapter 27. Things are gonna be winding down now, or it's gonna. I mean,
yeah. No, I get that. I'm just. That's
and it's
not
the same
how,
with games.
That's not how I like my stories.
It's the same with games. Like when I'm playing a story game, I'm like, all right, I just want to see what happens to the story. I don't want to go look and see well, I'm on chapter 27, like Uncharted or like other games like that, and I know there's only 30 chapters, something big is going to happen soon. I don't want to get my expectations up or catch them off guard or be let down. So I like to let it unfold on its own. So I leave those things completely out of my mind.
No, I'm totally opposite. I like to know that that I'm getting close to the destination, that I'm almost to the end, and it almost helps to motivate me to be like, oh, well, I know there's only like 4 more chapters on Uncharted. I know there's only like 1 more trophy that I need to get this story related element. So it kind of like helps to push me along and be like, hey, there is an end in sight. Just keep going, keep going. Because there's other games that like I'm like, I have no idea where the hell I'm at in this game.
Yeah,
it
and then all of a sudden it'll
10
end,
minutes,
right?
it could be 10 hours.
And I think that's one thing that comes down with good game design too, is that if you have a good designed game, if you have a well-designed game and it's more better to have that type of design, it'll make it clear if you're getting close or not. Much more clear.
You hit that nail on the head. So anyways.
But I mean,
so I'm really liking it. And boss battles have been really cool so far. It's been like a few trial and errors, not as bad as like that first night when we were playing
with the car in the garage.
With the garage. Yeah, like that was the most I've failed in a boss fight. Like normally it takes me I did a boss fight today that was 2 tries, and really I could have done it on the first one, but I ran out of ammo and I had too much crap in my inventory, so I couldn't pick up ammo, which was obnoxious. So I let them kill me so that way I could restart the fight, so I'd have all my ammo respawned, and I was able to get through it.
That wasn't that many tries anyway when I was watching it. It was only like 3 or 4.
Was it? It felt like so many tries that first
Yeah, usually
night.
like it's like the first time you're experiencing it, you're just trying to experience it and trying to play through the game.
Yeah.
The second time, right, okay, this is actually a fight. You start analyzing like their movements and like their attacks and things like that.
Yeah, because it took a while to figure out what the hell I was even supposed to be doing in that fight.
Yeah, and then if you don't beat them on that second time, then the third time is like where you're like, I already know what to expect. You kind of play it safe and you beat them usually. So
yeah,
I mean that's the kind of real key. But
so it's been really fun as far as like VR is concerned. I love it in VR. That's the only way I've been playing it. Has just been in VR only.
Yeah. Now, interesting fact that I found online is that the majority of 10% of the players who are playing Resident Evil have been playing in VR.
10% is not a majority.
No, I'm rounding up to 10%. That's what's a majority of 10%.
Well, no, they've said 10% are playing.
Yeah, well, it's only but 10%. I mean,
10% of the people who are playing it and connected to the Resident Evil net. Whatever service,
But I mean, the fact that how many people got VR sets and how many people are buying this game, I mean, that's not a huge amount, but it's not also a low amount either.
It's a pretty decent amount, considering the only way to do it in VR is on PlayStation.
Right.
Because PC and Xbox obviously doesn't have
they don't
VR.
have Oculus or anything like that.
Yeah, so I think that's a pretty decent number. Like, I didn't know what to expect necessarily, but I would be happier if it was higher, but 10% is still pretty good.
Now, with this Resident Evil, do you think that this is something that Capcom is going to try to capitalize on and go into? Because when they made Resident Evil 4, people were like, oh, this is the best one ever.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, we got to make more of them like this.
Can't spell capitalize without Capcom. So.
And they did 5 and they did 6 like that, and those were kind of more downhill because they got kind of away from what Resident Evil was. Yeah. This one is something they wanted to bring back to its roots, bring back to what Resident Evil made it scary, made it spooky, made the genre.
Yeah.
So do you think this is something they're going to continue on making more games like this one, or do you think they're going to try to combine this one with the action-y side, or do you think they're just going to step away from VR altogether and kind of go in another direction? What are you thinking that this would drive?
Based on how this game was made and kind of how I have been enjoying it, and pretty much everything I read online has been positive about it, especially VR. I would be willing to say that I'd be willing to bet that Capcom is gonna double down next time when they put a Resident Evil game. I think it's gonna be more of the same, but they're gonna up the ante. They're gonna give you a bigger area to explore. They're going to give you more enemies and stuff. Still, I think it's going to stay first person. I think it's going to keep the VR compatibility out of the box for the entire game.
More better open worlds.
Yeah, open worlds. Had you asked me a couple years ago, no, I think they totally would have been like, all right, this was great. Now let's add some explosions and let's add some set pieces and let's up the ante that way. But that's not what people wanted. That's not what the fans were asking for. This is more of what the fans have been asking for.
Now, watching you play this is more of like you seem kind of more handicapped with your weapon choices.
Yeah.
Opposed to like Resident Evil games. I'm actually a bigger fan myself of the tank controls. Because that's what I got used to in playing. I've beaten 1, 2, 3, and half of 4, and I've beaten the Code Veronica. So I've beaten a lot of those old tank control games. Those are the ones I enjoyed. But when you play those games, you'd find grenade launchers, shotguns, pistols, dual pistols, 5 flamethrowers. I mean, rocket launch, you name it, grenades, everything, Molotovs. So, do you think that they're going to try to maybe keep it the way it is now? But do you think really the weapon selection is a handicap? Finding all those really kind of broken pieces of wood or that give you splinters, or like just a little knife that's hung up on the wall that is kind of already jagged and broken. Like, do you think that you would want more weapons, or would you want to kind of keep it as those cringy weapons?
It's kind of cool if they had done it a little more like that. But that being said, there are some weapons later on that you find that are like a broken weapon that you have to find something to fix it to be a better upgrade for what you have. I don't want to get into too much spoilers and that kind of stuff. I don't know how much of it is spoiler. And at this point, I mean, it's been out for a couple weeks, but
so no spoilers.
But then there's another weapon that you find, which is a pretty BA weapon that's kind of overpowered, just a tad, but it's really well done. Where you have to find parts of it to assemble it and put it together, and then once you have it together, then you can start using it to attack. So I feel like there's a decent amount of variety in the weapons, and a little more than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be like, all right, here's a pistol, here's a shotgun, all right, that's it. Because I mean, it's more grounded. It's not like I'm going to find a rocket launcher in this house or whatever type of a thing. So I didn't know what to expect, but the amount of weapons that I've come across and some of the weapons that I've had to use for certain situations have been really good and really surprising and fun to use. No pitchforks.
Now, we're talking a lot about the weapons, and I don't want to spoil anything like you said. Do you think that, just talking more about the future of Resident Evil, do you think that people would appreciate to have, I know they kind of want to test the waters with this and see if people liked it and if they should go in this direction or go in another direction. Obviously, people were liking it, like you said. Do you think that people would enjoy more like Dead Island, where they can craft their own weapons and kind of make their own tools? Do you think they should go with that, or that's too much of a cliche now they should avoid it?
I think that they could do it, and they could do it in probably a way that makes it fun again, or just that's as good as other games do it.
Make it a mini game with VR and move controllers, right?
No, I hope not. That's one of the things I really don't like. Although I would say, if they did something to up the ante for the next one, for VR, I would like to be able to do move controls. But the problem is that you don't have analog control that way, because you can't move with your analog sticks, because there's no sticks on the move controllers.
Right.
So maybe the Farpoint controller when it comes out can solve that, because I know that has at least one analog stick on it for movement and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like the option though. I think that if they had an option for either one with a controller, with dual analogs, or even a hybrid of the controller in your left hand and a move controller in your right hand.
Yeah, and that would work if they could add support for the nav controllers, so that way you get your analog stick in there. But it's been really fun. VR, I have not felt sick. The only time when I started almost kind of barely feeling like that sick was when I was playing really late at night, and I was super tired.
2.5 hours.
But that was it. Otherwise, I've been playing for an hour and a half or 2 hours at a time.
Cool.
When I've been playing. So
all right. So really bottom line now, Resident Evil 7. For people who had no idea what this was, never had a VR game before, never played one, but they want something that's scary and a new experience, would you recommend this for them?
I would. It would kind of depend on what your take on horror games are. Okay. Because I went into this game expecting it to be a lot spookier and a lot scarier than it is. Okay. I was expecting something more, I don't know, like Outlast and that kind of stuff, where I feel very a lot of dread just walking through the house, because I was expecting the enemies to be constantly roaming.
Right.
But there's sometimes when they are, and you have to accommodate them. And then there's sometimes when they're not. So you're able to kind of free roam and explore everything as much as you want. That happens more often than I was anticipating in it.
Really? Okay.
So if you're looking for that game that's really kind of scary and you're constantly avoiding the monsters and the big bad guys, it might not be what you're looking for. If that's something that you didn't want from a horror game, by all means, go check it out, because it's definitely a lot less scary and intense than I was anticipating.
Kind of like an Alien Isolation, but not such a small PSN game, like a full-bred hide and seek kind of game, right?
Yeah, not so much Alien Isolation, just because that one does have a lot more of like the monsters constantly hunting you.
Okay.
But that only happens in certain parts in this game.
Okay.
It's not all the time.
So then now for all of our fans who are big fans of Resident Evil before in the past, 1 all the way through 6, all the remakes, all the HD versions, everything. I mean, people who are big fans of VR and love other VR games, what would you think they would like this game or not?
I would say probably the majority of them would. And should pick it up. It's another great entry for the series. Again, like I said, my only point of reference for any real authority is 4, which was a departure from the series anyways. It feels like the vibes I get from playing it feel a lot like 1 from when I was watching some of my friends growing up playing 1 and doing that kind of stuff. So I'm really enjoying this game, and I'm as hyped as I was. This game still delivered, and I still am having fun with it, and it's going to be a platinum.
And that's all we need to know right there, man. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. I'm going to actually cut that and make a review piece for us. So,
hey.
You guys heard it here first that Resident Evil 7 from TarynTheHype is definitely a picker-upper.
Yeah. Pick it up.
So check it out whenever you can. You'll enjoy it whether you're new to the VR experience or you're not. So.
I do highly recommend, if you do have VR, if you have PSVR, definitely at least give the mode a try. There's a couple different options in there to make it a little more comfortable for you. But out of the gate, it felt very comfortable for me. The only thing I changed on there was, so when you're playing in VR, you're controlling your movements, like your strafing movements with the left stick, and your right stick controls the direction that you're looking in. And you can set, it kind of works like in degrees. So like every time you click left, it'll knock
about
you
like
over
35 or 40 degrees. Like.
So it starts out at 30 degrees, which I didn't like because I was having to click over so often. So I changed it to like a 45 degree. Yeah. So that way I'm moving I'm moving half of a quarter. I'm moving an eighth of a wheel.
I watched some people playing online. They had it set still at 30.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't want to watch this anymore. Because
it makes it feel too jerky.
They're doing it way too much and too often. I'm like,
Even at that, like if I was watching playback on my stuff, like it almost feels a little too jerky. But I mean, I'm running around the house, taking corners fast, but
you get the mentality that you expect and you're ready for it. So your brain's just ready to go. So
it plays really smooth. It looks it has some like graphical fidelity where like you can tell when the textures kind of soften to accommodate the amount of movement you're doing, and then as you kind of sit still or wait longer, like it gets more detailed.
Cool.
But I highly recommend at least trying the VR mode.
Nice. Awesome. Have you been playing anything else or watched anything?
The other thing, we're still in the first segment. Holy crap.
Yeah. We're gonna fly through this. One of the things I played was going to be one of our main topics. So
okay. So the other game that I've been playing when I'm not in VR has been on the iPad. I've been playing this little mobile game called Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links.
Oh, you have been playing it, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free-to-play Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game.
I jumped into it too, but I haven't fully played it yet.
It's been pretty cool. I've been playing it like a little bit every night before I go to bed, just laying in bed watching TV.
I got my Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic, Hearthstone, and SAO on there.
Hearthstone, Pokemon TCG, Magic.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! I downloaded the Pokemon Duels last night and was trying that out.
I just went through the tutorial. But anyway, so...
Yeah, I just did a little bit more.
Have you played a lot of it or not really too much? Or?
The Yu-Gi-Oh! Game? No, I've been kind of playing a lot.
Your eyes wide.
It's been kind of a lot.
So, would you recommend it to everyone else?
It's pretty fun. It's free to play. You can buy currency in the game to help you buy more cards, but they give you enough currency in-game that you don't have to.
Okay.
Like, I haven't been doing that. I've been doing everything I can to get free gems to buy stuff.
Okay. I haven't jumped into it yet, and I want to. I wanted to see if you were going to even play it yet or not.
The one thing that kind of... And, like, I understand they did it so that it fits on a mobile device better, and it kind of streamlines the gameplay, is instead of having, like, 5 spaces for monster and trap zones, it's just 3. Oh, so it's 3 monster and 3 trap zone. But it plays really well. And for the most part, the games play pretty fast, too. Oh, and your deck size is maxed at 30.
Is that 50?
You can buy extra spaces, I think, but it's not that big a deal. Like, the deck size isn't too bad.
Okay. Yeah,
so I definitely recommend going in and checking it out.
I'll jump into that this week and we'll maybe try to play it later. Can you play multiplayer locally at all? Or no?
Yeah, we should be able to friend each other.
Okay.
If we're in
yeah,
there.
I'll play around with it and see if we can play a match for you. Cool. And we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, it's been fun.
yeah. Please, I want to play some more.
Got this awesome deck I've been working
Cool.
on. And it's pretty cool because so just to harp on this a little longer. So you start the game and you pick as if you want to start playing as Kaiba or Yugi. And then you get a version of their deck or whatever. Who did you pick?
Kaiba.
Okay, that's what I figured you picked. That's what I picked.
Well, as
too.
White Dragon. Come on now.
So you get to play with them, and then you unlock other duelists as you get farther.
Like Joey and...
Yeah, so like I've unlocked Joey, I unlocked Taya, I unlocked
you haven't been playing at all. Fuck.
I told you I've been playing.
I was
Your eyes got wide.
I was measuring your amount of play.
So I have. So you level up each one of the characters, and it unlocks bonuses for their decks, and then you like have an overall level that levels up too, based on like how many games you're playing and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I'm getting
you're
fairly high level. I'm not fairly high level, but I'm
pretty experienced in it.
I've put quite a bit of time into it in like the 4 or 5 days that I've been playing. It's been about a week.
All right, I'll try to catch up in at least a portion and fraction of that experience.
Remember how it was when I started playing Overwatch? And you're like, whoa, when did you put all this time in? Oh, yeah.
I thought I had a good lead on you with 12 levels. But
so anyways, those are the 2 games that have been taking up my time. TV, I've just been kind of watching this or that. Nothing super exciting.
Well, if you guys didn't know, coming up this weekend, this Sunday, is the Super Bowl. And my favorite football team is going to be in the Super Bowl. So I'm really excited about to shut up right now. You better not even be cheering for the Patriots.
I don't like the Patriots either.
All right, good. So
I can't.
Going for the Falcons, period.
It's not like I can.
So I wear my jersey for the Falcons, so I hope that they win. If they lose, this podcast will be good. I was a fan beforehand. Because I've been a fan of them for almost the past 10 years, 8 or 9 years. But,
yeah, ever since the Falcons were on the cover of Madden in 2005, 2004.
Yeah, they were bad for a while. They've had their ups and downs, but they definitely have gotten a lot better. I've been cheering for them all the way, and it's 18 years since they went to the Super Bowl. And last time they went to the Super Bowl, they lost. So they've never won. So
yeah,
it'll be nice if they can get that win, and they have the team to do it this year.
Cool.
So
it'll be
exciting.
And at least we get good commercials out of it. So
yeah, you can get your Doritos commercials and your Taco Bell commercials, so you're in good shape. What I've been playing lately is I've been actually playing. This was a few weeks ago when it came out. I picked up the Power Rangers game, which was a little downloadable PSN game. It really plays like a Flash game.
It looks like something off of Newgrounds.
Yeah, it's really fun. I mean, it's nothing complex. It was like $15. I got it for sale because I'm a Plus member. But I mean, we play it all together as a family. That's actually on the website for YouTube. If you guys check it out, you can see some of our gameplay there. And it's a 4-player co-op, local, just kind of like Castle Crashers type of game, hack and slash. The thing that really caught me by surprise is how much you can actually level up your characters and get more abilities and work together as a team, like doing combo attacks and like that. It's very interesting stuff. I was surprised I took it that far instead of just making this a basic, boring, play through the adventure, you're done, nothing else to do sort of game.
I expected it to be like the Super Nintendo game, where you're basically just a straight brawler, morph, and then fight the bad guy type of situation.
I really like that game. That was actually a really underrated super fighter game.
Oh, I love that game, yeah.
But I thought that one of the big huge missions for this, if you guys haven't played it yourself, was that it has a lot of homages to the old series. It lets you choose if you want to play as the old original characters or the new characters. But you can't play online, which is kind of weird when you can...
really weird.
You can customize your character, go through your skill tree, whatever you want to do, but you can't use that specialty with anybody else unless they're sitting with you. So, again, that was a missed opportunity, but probably because of finances, they couldn't do it.
Probably. Because it was probably developed by like 2 people.
Yeah, it was probably just a handful. And there's only like 9 stages, there's 7 stages, but each stage has 3 levels to it.
Okay.
So
how long does it take to get through the levels? Not the whatever. How long does it take to get through those 3? The group levels?
From each
from start to finish for that. And are you
I'd say 10 to 15
fighting
minutes.
a bad guy for the whole time?
Yeah, each world has a different bad guy.
Okay.
And when you fight him normally, and then you can also they make him gigantic again, and then you have this little fight scene fighting him when he's gigantic. Then you go into your Megazord, and they do a really good job playing through all the different stages of the actual TV show with a fair amount of cheese into it. But it's definitely entertaining to go back in the day and remember how those fights used to be. So
funny story. I was watching your Let's Play of it while you were streaming it, and it had the volume turned up, and the communicator noise comes on to like alert you of whatever's going on in the game. 3 times it happened, and 3 times I checked my phone because that's my phone chime for text messages.
Oh.
I was like, "Who's texting?" Oh, dang, that was the game.
Yeah.
Hey, who's texting? Oh, wait, no.
Where it sounds like impossible, but it's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rangers. Yeah, they did a really good job capturing that stuff. A lot of the old sound effects from the original, some of the old cast voice work for like the girl, whatever her name was.
Trini?
No, the bad girl, the evil
Rita?
girl. Yeah, Rita Repulsa.
Interesting.
That was fun. I've also been playing some Overwatch. I tried that out, the new Year of the Rooster.
Yeah.
A lot's happened in the last 2 weeks, guys, so we're catching it real fast.
Yeah, we're catching up a lot.
Very fun gameplay. I think there's a few things that are broken because this is so many characters have their own way of going about playing gameplay and mechanics of fighting that it's kind of broken in some areas the way the maps are laid out.
A little.
But they changed the maps enough to where you're very limited in how to beat the system, but it's still possible.
I wish that they would have done it like other brawls where they limit the heroes, that they like handpick which heroes can play in it.
I think that would have made more sense.
That would have evened the playing field a lot. Like if it was all tracers and sombras or something, people who have high movement.
Yeah,
I think that would have been a better choice.
It's very fun. I mean, I like it. I love Capture the Flag. That's usually one of my favorite go-to modes for any like fighting game or shooting game. But I mean, it doesn't feel like it's balanced completely for Overwatch, just because there's so many different types of characters. But still a lot of fun, and I think that's why it's only a temporary game mode, not a permanent. So
I'm
gonna check it out before you can. Before I think 2 more weeks is left.
Yeah, something like that. Middle of the month.
Get all those extra details. And I've been watching a lot of Blue Exorcist.
Okay, how is that?
It's an anime. If you guys haven't seen it, it's very entertaining. Me and Jordan have actually watched quite a bit of it. We're on episode 23 out of 25.
Yeah.
So we're right at the end. But that's on Netflix, so there might be one.
Yeah.
One season.
I've come across it a few times, but I've never actually sat down and watched it.
And I've been aware of it too. I'm like, hey, this is well-known anime. We were looking for something new. I'm like, why don't we just give it a shot? Instead of passing by it so many times. So we did. I mean,
that's another thing where I'm like, oh, okay, there's only 25 episodes in this whole entire series. Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Because I know that there's an end, as opposed to other things like Naruto, where it's like, oh, there's 700 episodes and they're still coming out with more.
I finished Attack on Titan, so I wanted to look for something else too. So that was really good. Nice. But this is just about this boy who realizes that he can actually, something happens to him where he activates an ability or a power where he finds out that he's part demon.
He leveled up.
His father, who was watching over him, which is a guardian, tells him that he's actually the son of Satan. Dang. And he has to kind of deal with these. And the whole world of schooling systems either revolves around normal school and then school for people who are called exorcists.
Okay.
Who pretty much fight demons.
Yeah.
But it's like an entire college university of people who do that as a daily job.
Cool.
So it's not over the top where people don't know what they're doing, but it's where they still have to protect themselves. A lot of comedy to it, a lot of adult humor, which is very entertaining, but it's fun.
Cool. I will definitely have to check that out.
Besides that, my other game that I've been playing was the For Honor beta.
For Honor beta.
For Honor beta, which was a closed beta,
awesome. And
it was only on last weekend. We're gonna talk about that on the topic, the hype of the show, though, so it'll come up pretty soon. If you guys are just now joining us and you didn't know from what we've been playing, what we've been talking about, we are available on a lot of different places for you to join in at us. If you want to ever support us, we're first off on patreon.com/TarynTheHype. Taryn is spelled with my name, Taryn. So check that out. If you guys want to support us, you guys can get some episodes early. You can get episodes that no one else gets. And you also can join us in on some Let's Plays. So you can join with us. So instead of just watching. If you also want to follow us or subscribe to our channels, you can find us on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, PSN. I am on Twitter at Augie272, which is AUGIE272. We also have our Taryn the Hype, which is on Twitter, Facebook. You can find it there. And Matt, you are on Twitter if people want to follow you.
At KrillinFlip337.
So now you guys can find us. Please subscribe to us. You'll get all the latest details when we're going live with the show. Ask questions. We can get your answers. And if you just want to write us directly but don't want to use social media because you hate it, our email address is TarynTheHype@gmail.com. So let's go and jump into the world of hype.
Hype.
All right, so speaking of Resident Evil, that just came out.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
It's been really
fun. But it's, hyped or unhyped. People should try it out. Something else that hasn't been not doing so great for Resident Evil is the last movie that was just released last weekend with Noah Jovovich.
I was going to ask if we were going to go. So I went to the movies this week.
Did you go see it?
No. I went
Should
to
we
go
go
see
see it together?
I went to go see Star Wars, and I was like, oh, dang, I forgot that was out. And I was like, I wonder if we should go see the Resident Evil together, because we saw the first couple together in theaters.
We saw
most of them together. I think there was one that we didn't see.
We saw the first 3 together.
Okay, that's
we didn't
what it
see
was.
the 4th and the 5th one together.
Okay. Oh, jeez. Missed 2 of them? I thought I only missed
This
one
is
of
the
them
6th one
in
that
theaters.
just came out, yeah.
Dang, I thought it was 5th.
Yeah, we
Anyway.
watched the first 2 in theaters, and we watched the 3rd one on video, or maybe we saw it in theaters too, like when it was about to come out of theaters. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, if you want to go see it in theaters, I'll go see it with you.
Yeah, so it did not do good at box office. And, I mean, a lot of people it's Resident Evil. It's very cheesy. It's an action movie.
You know what you're getting.
If you're going in to see an action movie, it's going to be that. If you're going to see zombies, you're going to see that. It's Alice's return to Raccoon City to kind of put an end to all.
So this is going to be like the end of the movie line,
this
right?
Is it.
Okay.
So she was in an interview. They're like, what are you going to do next? She's like, I don't know. But she's like, I really enjoy that character. I finally have her down. I know what I'm supposed to do now. And it's over with. I'm like, okay.
It took you 6 movies to figure out this character?
The funny thing in that interview is that they actually had to postpone this movie a year.
Really?
Because she got pregnant at the very beginning of it. So they're like, okay, we actually adjusted the story to make it better.
That sucks.
And they spent the extra time
that
to
sucks
make it better.
for everybody involved in production to bump it a year.
But they were really happy with it because of the changes, but it just didn't do well at box office because I think all the other ones weren't that great.
Yeah.
The first one's entertaining. I mean, the first one I think is probably the...
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, yeah.
Moving on, guys. If you guys haven't been watching the award shows, the La La Land has been killing it at like the Oscars, the Academy Awards, everything. They've been getting tons of nominations.
Yeah.
Have you seen it yet?
No.
I haven't either.
I know very little about this movie.
Ryan Gosling and person who played Gwen Stacy, what's her name?
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. It's a musical with them dancing and falling in love. I don't know what else it's about. But it's supposed to be very entertaining, very kind of,
It's very popular online. I just have not looked into it at all.
So if you guys are wondering of a good movie to watch, that's one I want to check out because it's winning a lot of awards.
Everyone else says it's good.
Some bad news here that we're going to kind of fly through these hypes of the week is that the studio Cambridge, the creators of Riggs.
Gorilla Cambridge, yeah.
Gorilla Cambridge.
Cambridge.
Kramer. Gorilla Cambridge.
There we go.
Has recently closed, which is very sad news. They've been in the industry for 19 years. Couldn't hit that 20 mark, but
almost.
They are the creators of the most recent VR game of Riggs. So for all you fans out there who are playing Riggs, don't worry, the servers aren't going down. They're going to be open for quite some time, being supported by Sony, but
there probably won't be new content or anything coming out.
They've already been announced that there will be no more new content, so no more DLC, no more holiday situations or new game modes or anything like that. So kind of sad.
Yeah,
but
it's always sad when studios get closed, especially right after they released a big game like that.
Yeah, and they've had a lot of big hits in the past too. I mean, they're actually a really a more better producing company. So I mean, it's surprised that they actually chose them to close out of all the other studios that they have. But I mean, our hearts go out to you. Again, I will always be bringing up studios that close if that ever happens because I know what that's like. But I think that with being with Sony, they're going to move on to bigger and better projects.
Yeah.
Hopefully somebody else will make another VR game when it comes to first-person shooter arena style because those are very fun to play.
Whoa. There's Medieval on... Oh, it's PSP. I thought it was PS2. I was like, what?
Yeah, it was the port.
Yeah, I remember that.
They worked on Killzone.
Killzone Mercenary, which was an awesome Vita game.
They worked on Primal, which is a very popular game that was kind of groundbreaking for its time. Especially if you're a fan of the Soul Reaper games.
But Medieval, crazy.
Yeah. But another thing when it comes to some sad news is that recently the founder of NAMCO has died. He's passed away. Masaya Nakamura, the father of Pac-Man, one of my heroes in the game industry. I think that he's been kind of underrated as a developer and a designer when it comes to video games. He's kind of more become with the publishing side of things and a producer, opposed to actually continuing game design. He's put out a bunch of titles. If you guys have never heard of Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man, he was the creator of that. Dig Dug, Xevious, and Pole Position. So, I mean, they actually named the company NAMCO as an acronym, if you didn't know it, was Nakamura Amusement Machine Manufacturing Company.
Nice.
So, I mean...
Did not know that.
NAMCO is actually partially named after this guy because of his creation. So, it's a big loss to the gaming industry, but he will be missed, and I know that NAMCO is going to continue on with Bandai, of course.
Yeah.
They got tons of animes under their belt.
Yay.
So, rest in peace. Another thing that might want to rest in peace pretty soon here. Please chime in whenever you want to say something.
Go ahead.
Is that the Wii U has stopped in production.
Man, that's still a thing?
So I found this really interesting, and the reason I'm bringing it for a certain reason is that the Wii U is stopping production for the first time ever. The current console generation for that company is stopping production before the new console has been released.
Yeah. I thought, didn't they do that? Something else did that too, didn't it?
Not to my recollection.
Thinking. I thought that they discontinued the Wii before the Wii U came out. Or, no, I guess it was right after the Wii U came out. They killed it off pretty fast. But yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it just kind of goes to show you that Nintendo is trying to stop hemorrhaging as much money as they can before they come out with the Switch. But to be fair, the Switch comes out next month.
Right. I mean,
it comes out in March, so it's not like there's that much time.
Yeah, it's not like a full season or summer or a year separating it of a gap. But
and I'm sure that there's plenty of stock. If you wanted to get a Wii U, you could still go find one somewhere.
Exactly. With that though, it's the fact that it's only a month away. I mean, but it just proves to themselves saying, okay, we're already going to wave this red flag or this white flag. We're going to give up this fight. There's no point in producing more because we know they're not going to sell out.
Yeah.
We're not going to sell this. We're not going to need more backups. We're not going to. So, I mean, it's smart on their side because they're saving money, but it just kind of proves to the point that, yeah, we messed up. This was not a good idea. We probably shouldn't have worked on this.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I still love Nintendo. We've had that conversation.
We want them to succeed.
But. Yeah. I think that it's definitely going to even prove even more that they're putting all their eggs in the basket of the Switch.
Yeah.
So.
I think our last episode was just before the Switch conference.
It was. We haven't talked about it at all.
Okay, I didn't think we had.
No, I wasn't thinking about doing a special episode for that sometime.
Okay, cool.
Like
that works.
With this, though, I mean, the industry by itself is not doing bad. If you talk about Nintendo on the other side of things, the NES Classic has confirmed sold 1.5 million copies.
Damn.
And that's with limited release, limited,
that's
exclusivity.
Been like every single piece that's come into a store has sold.
Exactly.
So that thing is still hard to find.
It's just so frustrating. Like when they have things like this that sell so well, and they limit it. And then they have things like Wii U where it sells like crap, but they keep producing it. I mean, it's just like I feel like Nintendo's like, we know that you guys are gonna love everything that we make. We're gonna make you foam at the mouth for this and not give it to you.
That's been their mantra since the beginning, though. So I started reading a book about Nintendo back in the day, and was like one of their principles of, we're not going to produce enough to give to everybody. We'll get enough so that we get it out there, get it in the wild, and get people excited about it. But they're going to have to keep kind of wanting it to come back and get more. And when can I get this? And it makes it almost like that carrot on the end of a stick of, you're still trying to get to it. It's that goal that's just out of reach, but you have to get it. I mean, nothing examples that as much as like the Wii when it came out, and shortages lasted for like almost a year.
Yeah.
Amiibo, when they first came out, people were looking for them to collect them, and stores were just getting like 8 of them or 10 of certain characters or whatever, and then you would have to wait months to get it restocked.
A special order them, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Nintendo's done this all the time. There's just been a few exceptions, like the Wii U, where they produced a significant amount, but they just didn't sell like they.
I hate how good they are at doing it too, because it's so frustrating. Every time they have such great software that I feel like it's kind of like almost a shame that they're limiting people to be able to enjoy these experiences because they're all about the business. I think that you want to have your fanfares to where you make it good for the fans, but you also want to make sure it's good at a business method. I feel like their business method is always like 75%, 25%. Compared to the fan service. Yeah. But they always know exactly which string to pull at what time. So I'm not too worried about the Switch with them. I think they're going to do just fine. I think it has enough hype under its belt. But I think they definitely can show their cards. I think it does, but I think people are very cautious after everything that happened with the Wii U. We're going to have to talk about this later. Yeah, this is a whole can of worms. We're going to talk about the Switch, I promise. Okay. Especially when it's because I really do want to talk more in depth about that. Now, speaking of also the other sales with the industry, is that you have nothing to worry about with the industry because, I mean, all the trends of a new president or foreign exchange or with the years going by of, prices going up or not. Just so you guys know, the U.S. video game industry has generated $30.4 billion in revenue for 2016. So a lot of revenue. That's actually an increase in the figures of 2015, which was 30.2. So, I mean, even year over year, if you look back to 2014, it was $24.5 billion.
Yeah.
So, I mean, things may be getting more expensive. Less games are coming out throughout the year. There's new peripherals. There's some things that are changing, pros, all the different things like that, VR headsets. The industry is still coming out on a profit year over year. So don't worry, video games are not going away anytime soon. Not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So
they're here to stay.
Now,
which is awesome for us.
It definitely is.
It would really suck if the video games just went away.
This show might be a little hard to do.
If what would life be like if Nintendo back in the 80s was like, screw it, we're not going to do video games. It didn't succeed. Why even bother? Like, if Nintendo hadn't stood up for games back then, where would we be? Like, what the hell would we do with our lives?
I wouldn't be here. I'd be dead.
I don't even know why, but there's a hole that's missing in my heart. I don't know what it is, but it's this thing. I want a game that I can play like a video.
I want a movie that's like me watching a movie, but I want to be able to interact with that movie.
I want to tell that character how to move. And then when I die, he says, that's where my story ends.
I want to be able to steal that car and pay that hooker whenever I want to.
And then run her over. and get my money back.
And get half of my money back. I don't know what happened to the other half, but I want to be able to play it. I mean, it would be a completely different world.
It's so weird to think about, like, that could have happened. Easily could have happened.
Oh, yeah,
if
multiple times.
If Nintendo hadn't done it, if they hadn't stuck around,
Atari,
it's crazy.
Panavision. I mean, there's tons of situations where the gaming industry came close to toppling over.
Yeah.
I think it was about 3 or 4 times where the industry came to a collapse and people thought it was never going to come back. But it's the pure interest of fans. It's the pure excitement of our world and publicly announcing we like this, we want this, and speaking with our dollars that made it succeed. So round of applause to you guys out there.
Yeah, go us.
Now, this may not be as exciting about what we just talked about, but Skate 4 was announced and canceled.
Yeah, right? It was like, hey, hashtag Skate 4. What? And then they're like, oh, yeah, just kidding. We're not developing
It's more like they announced that Skate 4 was canceled when no one knew Skate 4 was announced.
Yeah, right?
It was really a surprise that I was like, okay, I mean, people weren't as into it as they used to be. The X Games has even gone downhill in publications. That's not people watch it. It's not even on at the same time in prime time. It's actually later at night now.
Interesting.
So I mean, the excitement for that type of industry has gone down, but I mean, people still love doing it as a hobby. So there's a lot of people who like to play it.
To jump on the skate bandwagon, I read another interesting article that the Tony Hawk franchise is no longer working with Activision, but Tony is currently working to develop a new game. A new Tony Hawk Pro Skater game. Not with Activision.
I'd like to see Tony Hawk make a game with dice.
Interesting. It'd be pretty cool. So he said it's not at a stage that they can openly discuss and talk about it, but that he's working with some studios to try to put some stuff together, and he's very excited by what he sees or something like that. Like everything that he's been seeing so far has been really good, and that he thinks fans will appreciate the game.
Like Kojima with the Gorilla Engine.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. Mine. Well, guys, besides that, and I have one more thing when it comes to more entertainment, not so much video games, but with the movie industry and all of our comics. Aquaman, very well-known comic book hero, if you guys don't know him. They've announced that Nicole Kidman is actually the mother of Aquaman.
Really?
How do you feel about that?
I didn't even know she was going to be featured in the film, so okay.
Do you think that she can handle? I don't know much about Aquaman's relatives.
I don't know that much about Aquaman's mother, but I don't see why she couldn't play her. I mean, she's a good actress.
So what I was really trying to ask for is there's not going to be a lot demanding for her from this role.
I can't imagine, no.
Yeah. So, I mean, get her name in there and get some, get some money.
Yeah, gets a little bit of street cred in there with a bigger name.
Okay.
More than just Jason Momoa, which I'm sure he's going to be a big draw anyways, just because he's a very handsome-looking, muscular gentleman who's going to be like topless for most of the movie. So underwater with his hair flowing behind him. I can't imagine this movie doing poorly. I mean, it could suck.
Well, it's DC, so
yeah, I know. Take it with a grain of salt. Another DC. Ben Affleck has said that he's not directing the next Batman movie. He is still attached to the project. He is still Batman, and he's going to be. He's looking for. I like Batman. I like this Batman.
I like Batman. Oh yeah.
Have you seen? Damn! I don't think I have the picture. There's a picture of all the characters from Justice League, and they're all like doing exercise things and like working out and whatever. And then there's a picture of Ben Affleck eating a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is why it's my favorite Batman." And I was like, "Yes, that's great."
He's like wearing like a wife beater too,
something like
totally
super
dressed down.
unflattering, and just like like full on, just destroying a cheeseburger.
As long as my chin looks good, it doesn't matter.
All of them, make them all look great. So, anyways,
I'm gonna go ahead and skip the last piece of news.
yeah, go ahead. We gotta steer out of this to get.
No,
to
we're good. We're already at hype of the show. We're only about an hour into it, so
that's not bad.
Less than an hour. So moving on to the hype of the show. As I mentioned before, one of the games I was recently playing. Thank you first off to Ann Farmer. She is a good friend of mine from THQ.
Thank you.
And she actually works at Ubisoft now, so she was able to provide me with a code.
Nice.
To get into the closed beta.
Very cool.
For you who don't know, For Honor is also going to be having an open beta weekend.
Yes,
not this weekend, but the weekend before launch, which is more of a stress test. So don't expect the servers to work up perfectly, but definitely jump on if you can to help Ubisoft make sure it's solid for release.
Cool. Yeah, because Ubisoft needs all the help it can get with releasing online games.
And servers, yeah.
If the Division is any indication.
Or even Watch Dogs.
That's a good point, too.
Yeah.
Since they delayed the online for that for a while.
Yeah, it took a week and a half.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, so let's go and jump into it. My For Honor impressions. If we can just mark the video here. First off, do you have any questions for me about For Honor, or should I give you a brief description of what it is?
Nope.
What you say no to?
No.
That's more better. I'll go ahead and get started now.
Give us a brief description of the game, and then I'll start giving you. I do want to know some things about this game, so I'm very curious about this game. That is all right. For Honor.
First off, let me go ahead and say that this is one of my most looking forward to games of 2017. I have a little bit of hype for this because I'm a big fan of fighting games, but also of new mechanics for making things more better, and in the mind game genre of actually making fights intense and emotional instead of just wham bam thank you ma'am.
Yeah.
For Honor is a game where you can choose three factions, either the Samurai, the Knights, or the Vikings. Now, when you jump into the game, it gives you a nice little video showing the history of it. The final game is going to have a campaign, which is not in the beta. It's going to have 12 characters to choose from, which only 9 were in the beta. Mm-hmm. And it's going to have another game mode, which is 4-on-4, which is not in the beta.
Okay.
Now, the things that were in the beta were the option for you to choose your factions. Mm-hmm. And also 1v1, 2v2, and 5 versus 5.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to the factions part, you can choose to be whoever you want to fight for. That's the very first question the game asks you.
Okay.
Do it be Samurai, Viking, whatever it is. Whatever you choose, that's just who you're going to support. Now, if you choose Samurai, you can still play as Vikings or Knights. You're not locked into one type of class. Mm-hmm. The only thing is that whenever you win a match, that goes to fighting for your faction of Samurai, blah, blah, blah. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
All right. Now, the mechanics are very interesting when it comes to the controls and the fighting. If you're guarding with holding the L2 button. Okay. And there's up, down left, and down right, which you can pretty much control to up, left, or right.
Triangle. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, it's like a triangle. But if you push left or down left, it'll go there. So
yeah,
it figures it out. It's pretty smart. So holding L2 focuses on whoever you're fighting.
Okay.
Double tapping it switches enemies if you're looking at 2 enemies at once. So it kind of gets you in a stance. Wherever you're facing with your triangle, that's where you're going to block.
Okay.
It's also where you're going to attack if you choose to attack. Now, whenever you're fighting an enemy, you can also see where they're aiming. Mm-hmm. You can see if it's top, down, left, or right, unless they're not aiming. It's not focusing on you. So that's a really good big mind game of I'm aiming up, maybe I should prepare to block. He's aiming up, maybe I should attack him, but I know I'm going to block, so maybe I should switch real fast. And everybody's constantly trying to change their fighting stance to see how they're going to attack. Mm-hmm. Now that's just the basic for your stance, your fighting style. You also have a light attack, which is R1, mm-hmm. and you have a heavy attack, which is R2. Now, each character that you choose has 8 different like combinations.
Okay.
Like R1, R1, and R2. R1, R2, R1. They all have different special abilities. Some that do like bleeding damage or bludgeoning to where it knocks them off their balance.
Okay.
And you also, if you push X, you can dodge roll.
Cool.
Some are faster than others.
Okay.
And then you also can push square to grapple and throw them in a direction you want to.
Okay.
If you push square, you grapple them, and you can either choose to attack there, or you can grapple and push square again, and it throws them in a direction.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you are able to push circle at the right time, you'll deflect their attack and you'll parry it to where you have an opening, which is very hard to do, by the way. So those are controls.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you so far?
Yeah.
It's a very fun game. I've actually found myself playing a lot of the 1v1s.
Okay.
To where it's just me and another guy. It's always the best out of 5 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like Rocket League. You have your little taunts where you can push like up one the direction pad.
Yeah.
You push L1 and choose what you want to say, and it's just pre-generated
and
comments.
You hit the swear button all the time.
Yeah, shit. Just a bunch of numeric characters and alphanumeric system. But it's really, really interesting. You have your health bar gauge, and then you also have a stamina gauge.
Okay.
When you block an attack, that takes away majority of your stamina. If you're attacking, that takes away stamina too, but not as much as blocking.
Okay.
So there's this big balance about, should I attack, should I block, should I try to just dodge roll, because that takes stamina as well. Mm-hmm. And trying to use what attacks I should use at the right time, which way I should come at them. Like, there's this big old mind game that just happens and makes every single battle very intense, very personable. Mm-hmm. And I love it about the game so far. It's one of those games that, like, you can jump into and play a 1v1 match, and you're like, oh, just 5 more minutes. Mm-hmm. Or just 5 more minutes. Like, because it's very short. You can play a match, like all 5 rounds of that match, I'd say within a 5-minute range. So you're like, I want one more. Mm-hmm. Now, the cool thing about this is that the same thing for 1v1 is the same with 2v2. It's 2 people with you and 2 people with them.
Okay.
Playable characters. If the player doesn't join, it automatically goes to AI. I have found that whenever an AI is joining, they're more brainless. I wish the AI was a little bit better. Yeah. Because it's just more of like, I'm going to charge in there and just attack. Yeah. The best I can and attack.
They don't have a very good AI with accommodating different attacks or different situations.
They're aware of their environments and they're aware of like how to maneuver around them very well. But when it comes to like outthinking the opponent, they don't do that. They're there just to pretty much, add pressure, which is good for some situations.
Is that something that can be adjusted for like how difficult the AI is?
No.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, there's still some challenge in there, and the good thing is that whenever you win, you get experience points, whether it's against only AI or whether it's against a playable character.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about the servers too badly there. Now, whenever you do win any match, you get special points for your faction. So if you, in the very main menu, it's a full board of like the entire map. And I picture the map as one of those triangles. You have your Vikings, your Samurai, and your Knights, and they all have their own territory that they're occupying. Now, this is literally in live time. The people around the world, they're adding reinforcements for defense with all the matches they've won, or they're adding people to attack. And it shows you in sections along the map, along where the fights are at, what the percentages are at that little section of the border.
Okay.
So you can see, the Vikings and the Samurai are 50-49 or something like that. And you can add reinforcements to the attack or add reinforcements to the defense. And then once that week's over, that daily challenge you get a bonus for it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's a very intricate, very complex system that's also very easy to maneuver through and manipulate. And easy to get rewards. They have packs that you can purchase through in-game coins that you get.
Okay.
Whenever you finish a match, whether you win or lose, you search the battlefield. Okay. And it pretty much randomly generates new armor that you can find or coins that you can find. And whenever you find new armor, you can do a few things. You can either scavenge that armor, so you can get your class's scavenging points. Okay. Which is only specific to that class. Or you can get coins and just trade it in, or you can upgrade that armor and equip it. There's gold pieces, rare pieces, all that, and then you can buy like booster packs where it's like 4 pieces of armor, 3 pieces of armor, 1 guaranteed rare piece of armor, something like that. So keep you coming back with more gold. When it comes to the characters themselves, like I said, there's 9 in the beta. There's 12 overall in the full game. So there's 3 that were missing. It ranks them from how they are to play, from easy to normal to hard.
Gotcha.
So it takes you, much like Overwatch, how hard it is to master those characters. It also tells you what their stats are, like fast at countering, quick, good distance, good reach, or overall balance, or hard hitter, or things like that. So it's really cool seeing what each character does. You only have, you can play as any character you want from the beginning, but you can't customize any character you want. You have to recruit them to your army to play as them, which is 500 coins. It's not hard to get. It's like maybe a handful of matches. If I'm going too fast, let me know.
No, you're fine.
Now, whenever you unlock a character, they are fully customizable. And when I say fully customizable. When you first start the game, you have to design your battle shield, so the logo for your shield, and that's not the only thing that's customizable. That's the color of it, the design on it, everything like that. When you have your character, when you recruited him to your team, you can customize each shoulder pad separately, his chest separately, the legs separately. You also can customize any extra armor they have on him separately. And then with his weapon, the sword, you can customize the whole sword itself. Then you can change out the base, and then you can also change out the blade. So 3 sets pieces to the sword itself. So 3 parts of the sword, and then like 5 parts of the armor. And then you also can change the colors. So each character can change that. Whenever you're playing the game for experience points, each character keeps its own level. So if I'm playing for 1, that only character levels up those experience points. If I switch to another one, that one's back at 1. I have to level that one up too. So you have 12 different characters to level up automatically from the start. So, I mean, if you're playing with someone online, you're like, oh, he's only level 5. I can maybe level 5 with this guy. But you got another character who's at level 20 something. So you don't know.
Is there a max level?
Not that I know. From my understanding, I think I read online that it's 30. 30 or 40, but I could be wrong. So it's not high. But, I mean, I'm playing through the beta. I think I got a level 12 with 2 characters, and then one was 8, one was 4. I was trying a few different ones.
How much time did you put into it?
I'd probably say I put them at maybe 3 or 4 hours. So not crazy amounts, but definitely where I got to try each match. Probably my least favorite were the 2v2s. The reason was because the internet's kind of broken the entire point of the game, which is for honor. There's a big meme going around right now, which is in the community, where if you're playing a 2v2 or a 5-on-5 match, that if the other person loses or you defeat your opponent and you go over to watch, you just sit there and watch. So that you're honorable. If you're not honorable, you jump in and you start fighting. The really cool feature about this is that they can comment to you about this, about your actions, as well as when the match is over, you can rank the other team's abilities. So cool. It's like a 5-star rating. Say 1 through 5 stars, how good they did, and if they were honorable or not. That's cool. So it's kind of a cool feature that implements into the character, keeps the whole thing well-rounded. Now, the most complex out of the whole game is the 5v5. This is a completely different type of game altogether. Instead of just a duel of 5 people, up in a line, you actually have what is a capture the point mode. So imagine if you have 5 people on your side, 5 people on their side. No matter what classes you want to be, no matter what player you want to be, you have a wave of enemies on their side and a wave of enemies on your side that just AI components, really easy, one-hit kills. They go in, they try to capture the middle point. In that middle point, which would be B, when you're in there, you capture it, you get a point every time that when you're in, you own that point. Same for the enemy. If they kill all of your AI opponents and they capture that point, it's fun watching it push back and forth. There's like a huge battle around the middle. They get a point per second. Every time you kill one of their enemies while you own that point, you get an additional point. Okay. If you capture A or C, which are the outside points, their side or your side, you get additional 100 points. And if you own that point, you can regenerate health while you're in it. Also, there are different trigger points in the map, so you can kind of block out their enemies, like lower a steel cage for like 30 seconds so they can't get to it, things like that. There's ladders you can climb. You can kind of come behind someone, stab them, and then like their hip, and they fall down.
Nice.
You can knock people off of cliffs when they're up there, like on a higher point. And there's like the steel pits that are like from the Mortal Kombat facing up like the wood, and they'll fall on that and they'll die instantaneously. Cool. You can also revive your friends.
Okay.
So if they're knocked down, and you can choose to revive them if you knock an opponent down and you choose to like do an execution move, just like cut their head off, something like that, then they can't be revived.
Okay.
It takes longer to perform, so it leaves you open for attack, but then they cannot be revived. So that's the trade-off for it. I have found this mode to be very fun, not only because it has the basic aspects of fighting multiple people at once. You really feel like you're in the middle of a war zone. You have like catapults landing out of the rocks landing in the middle of nowhere, things on fire. But with this mode, each character has a set of 4 special abilities.
Okay.
When you're doing when you're capturing points or getting certain points on the team, they unlock using the D-pad, up, down, left, right. And one will be like summon a barrage of arrows to fire like in an area in front of you. Use a smoke bomb to disappear, like try to run behind. Have it to where a circle around you appears, and everyone on your team who's in that circle has stronger defense.
Okay.
Or just use like a potion to heal yourself real fast. Like there's so many different mechanics that you can unlock, and there's only certain ones that apply to certain characters too. Okay. So again, another reason why you want to choose which character you want to play as. But I mean, that's pretty much For Honor altogether from everything that I read as well as what I've played. Okay. For my experience so far, I am loving this game.
Yeah, it seems like it.
It's very intense. Like I said, those moments where, regardless if you're playing a one-on-one match, has an intense moment. But even if you're playing 5-on-5, your team is trying to do all the same thing. But if you're not moving, you're dying. Like in that game, like you have to be on it.
If you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not just so much like those first-person shooters where you have to just run in there and kill as many people as you can to kind of push them back. No, you have to use a formula to try to figure out what's the best point of option I should go through right now. Should I capture this middle point and try to hold them back? Should I try to revive people? Should I try to go left or right to kind of surprise them and make them focus on those so we can capture the middle point? Like, for something so basic as a capture the point mode, it feels a lot more complex than it really is. That's why I think I'm really enjoying it.
Cool. So, question.
Okay, I've had my spot, so now I'm open to questions.
What is the best kind of bear?
Black bear.
Fact.
Beats.
Bears eat beets. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
What is going on here? Identity theft is not a joke. Michael! Wait, what are you doing? Michael!
When you told me I had to ask questions, the first thing I thought of was, question. So, from everything that I've seen for the game, like the stuff they really focus on showing off is the 1v1 stuff. And like you were saying, the whole going high, going left, going right. And like it's almost kind of like a rock, paper, scissors type of situation from how it's presented.
Yeah, if rock, paper, scissors didn't have 3 options, if it had 6, that's definitely exactly what it would be.
Do you feel like when you're playing is that you have enough like freedom to move around? It doesn't feel like you're just kind of stuck there and you're doing this attack. All right, I'm locking into this attack. All right, well, he attacked me. Like, does it still feel like it's like a more fluid gameplay? Like you're still in control of yourself the whole time, and you're just like, how much of it is real time, predetermined? How much of it's real? Yeah,
right. Because I mean, it sounds like one of these situations where you do an attack and you're kind of caught in that animation for so long that you're leaving yourself open. But in reality, you're like, I can respond faster to this, but my character's not.
Is it like does it get almost to like turn-based, like old Final Fantasy?
No, it's actually very fast-paced. Okay. You don't feel like you're like in the old fighter games, like when you do like Tekken or old Virtual Fighter, you'd say like do this combo, but like they have to like do this whole motion. You can't do anything while they're doing it. Yeah, it's not like that at all. Okay. I mean, there are some characters who do move slow, but their attacks still register from how they hit so fast that you don't really feel like they're moving slow at all. And when there's so many different characters for you to choose from that when you choose a character that really matches your play style, you feel like a connection.
You really hone in on them.
Yeah, you're like, this character feels good to me. Like there was one, I think it was a peacekeeper I was really good at with the knights, with the Vikings. I was really good at with the basic guy who was the easy guy, kind of the big overall. And with the samurai, I was actually really good with the spear person and the basic guy as well. Just because like I knew their timing felt right to me. I knew how to bounce out to it. If I wanted them to dodge, like, they dodge when I'm supposed to. Mm-hmm. And that's the great thing about that. No matter if you're playing against someone or not, you're going to get rewards whether you win or lose.
Okay.
You get coin. You might not get upgrades or gear, but they definitely reward you for just for playing. When it comes to the animations, I never felt like I'm telling you to do this. You need to do it faster.
Yeah.
I never felt like I was being slowed down by the reaction speed or the animation speeds.
Okay.
There's a short tutorial which walks you through it so you can kind of see what to expect. There's actually a quite long move list to where I would try. I'm like this. I want to do this move, and I try it in battle, and it wouldn't work for me. So I tried another move. I'm like, this responds more to what I can do. So I mean, it's not just me standing in front of you saying, all right, I'm going to attack, and you can only expect one type of attack. If I'm aiming up, I'm attacking a different way than if I'm aiming left.
Okay.
If I'm aiming right, I'm attacking a different way than if I'm up. So they're all different. They're literally fighting stances.
Okay.
So like when you played old Mortal Kombat Armageddon or something like that,
yeah,
you could change fighting stances and all the attacks would be different. It's just like that.
Okay.
Each one comes from a different angle or a different type of attack. And the combos that you do, there's enough variations to where it's never the same fight.
Okay. How do they... So another thing from the videos, it was a lot of two people meet in the battle and they just kind of fight. But the way you were describing it feels a little more like more action oriented, and like you're able to walk around your environment a little bit. How big are these environments that you're in? Like, is it just like this small little like arena almost, or is it more like you're part of a bigger battle?
So they're definitely scaled. That's the thing that I think I liked as well. They're making the game kind of fair for 5-round matches. It's best of 5, so you can end up playing like 9 rounds. Or 7 rounds. Is it?
A best of 5 or best of 10? You said?
No, I mean it's the first. Yeah, the best of 5.
So first to 5. So you could play 9.
Yes, you could play 9. So I was right. So the cool thing was about the environments is that they were scalable. If you're playing 1v1, those are the smallest arenas. If you play 2v2, they're definitely a little bit bigger because what they do is they situate you and your enemy over here, and then your person on your team and another enemy over here.
Okay.
So they kind of put you separate. If you defeat your guy, you have to run over there to get to him.
Okay.
So you guys have space. If you want to meet together in the middle and have a 2-on-2 fight, you can do that. If you want to stay secluded, if I beat him, and I'm just going to sit here and wait for them in that fight. If the opponent beats my friend, he'll come over and we'll fight here. There's a lot of different ways you can play. One thing I forgot to mention is that the environments are interactable. Okay. So on 1v1, you won't just be fighting like in an arena every single time. Sometimes you'll be fighting like on a Great Wall of China that's been like kind of destroyed. Okay. And so there's parts that you can throw them off the side of it, or they can knock you off the side of it. And it's just like a very narrow passageway, but if you like fall back, then it opens up. So you can kind of lure them. And like I said, everything's very thought out about how you want to play it. Okay. Sometimes there's also a map where you're on the ground, you can't fall off anything, but there are heat geysers that blow up through the ground. And you can clearly see them like where they are. They're like a 10-foot radius. And this map is huge. But I mean, if you fall in those heat geysers, it kills you substantially. There's also the maps where part of the building's on fire. If you hit the fire, you catch on fire too. So, I mean, they do a good job balancing out where you want to fight in the map, how you want to pull your opponent, using that grab technique and throwing him, but you have to get close to use it. So it's very well balanced. And I think that's one thing that I caught on so well too, because the matches are so fast. They can be so fast for one match, and it can be over so quickly. Or you can think, I'm going to kill him. Then you all of a sudden you run out of stamina, and then the tide turns, and you can't block because you have stamina. So they're running away, and like it just goes back and forth. Like you could be a master and still get surprised. So
okay, how does just real quick, how stamina recovers as you're playing the game, right? So if you ran out of stamina or whatever, it just takes time to recharge it.
Yeah, so it's a little green bar. It's most like other stamina meters. It goes down if you get a block, and then it starts going back up again. There's different levels that you can attribute to going up faster with like equipment that you have on. Okay. If it goes down too much, it'll constantly keep revising up to where it's full again. If you run away, it'll fill up. If it goes all the way down, then you can't attack.
Uh-huh.
It becomes a white meter, and you have to wait for it to get full again.
Okay.
So like it'll go down and fill up, go down and fill up. If it goes all the way down, then you have to wait.
So you really don't want it to get all the way down, basically.
Right.
It kind of penalizes you for doing too much.
Right. It's a balance between should I block, should I attack, which again, the attacks take the least amount of damage. The least amount of your stamina if they hit.
Okay.
If they get blocked, it takes more.
Okay.
If you're blocking, that takes more. So you're trying to find the right, should I attack, should I wait, should I... And it's just like it's a big mind game, and it's really only 3 options to choose from, but you're constantly in your head, should I do this, should I do this? And I think that's what draws the intensity out of the game. It makes it very interesting to... Even if you're fighting one player, it's that moment in your head.
Cool. So the environments kind of scale to the type of battle you're in.
For the 5v5, those environments.
Yeah.
Those are a lot bigger environments.
Yeah.
So with those, it's more like...
Well, so yeah. No, I got it. I get it. That makes sense. What I was going to go with was... Are you in different locations for different fights? Like if you pick certain factions to fight as, like are you fighting in like a castle? You could be fighting at the dojos. You could be fighting
exactly. So there's one thing that's really cool about that.
Not a ship, but yeah.
So the one thing is that whenever you choose 1v1, so imagine like a really big map, and imagine a river that comes as a triangle and separates 3 continents. That's like the lines of war where you're fighting at. It's cool because you'll put your reinforcements for defense or attack, and you'll come in like 2 days later. Like I played Friday and came in on Sunday, and the lines had completely changed.
Okay,
like one side on the Vikings had gone completely down, but then like the samurai went up to the Vikings, and so those are ever changing.
Okay,
those lines change which map you're gonna fight on.
Okay,
so if you want to reinforce this one more, you're like, if you guys have more ownership of that one, you're more likely going to fight there.
Okay, and
that map. Every time you do like that out of 5 fights, it's a different map every 5 fights.
Okay, cool.
So you're not fighting the same map 9 matches. You're fighting a different map every match.
Okay.
Also, if the overall community is winning with the Vikings, like that are taking over everything, their banners will be on the castles that you're fighting at, or their banners or like their women, or like their colors. You'll see those changing in the environment. So like if the samurai are fighting like at this home base and they're fighting, the samurai's logos there, but if the Viking percentage goes higher than the samurais in the faction war, then that same home base is gonna start having like Viking markings on it and like camouflage and coloring and banners and stuff like that. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool like small detail change, but you can definitely tell like who's winning the tide of the battle.
Cool.
Sort of thing. So
and is there some kind of like story that's going on to kind of explain why everybody's fighting each other?
So I mean it's really
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
There's like an introduction story that if you watch it, you can see it online. It's like a 2-3 minute story. There is a full campaign in the main game, which from my understanding is supposed to be between 4 to 7 hours.
And would that be like a campaign for each of the races?
They haven't announced yet.
Or is it like you're bouncing between them?
I think that you're bouncing between them.
Okay.
I'm not sure yet, but I think that you might have a different campaign for who you're choosing.
Yeah.
But you're bouncing between the actual characters.
Okay.
So if I'm choosing the samurai, I'm going to play through the story as samurai, but I'm going to change the characters of samurai.
Okay, yeah. That would make sense, yeah.
Again, that's a little speculation from what I've read. I think that's what my idea is.
Okay.
The concept, but I could be wrong. But the campaign definitely is lengthy, and it changes from all different game modes.
Okay.
With the story is the fact that like long ago, like when like the islands were being created and whatnot, there were like the Vikings were like kind of nomads, and they were just kind of wandering, and they found water, and they wanted to like drink this water, and you see like the samurai wanted that water first because he wanted to survive, and so like they got ready to fight because like, I'm declaring this my water, I want this land, and then all of a sudden the knight shows up. And like we declare this land for them, and it's like the person who's narrating it saying there's a moment of peace, and then like something causes a reaction to like where someone trips or they heard a gunshot go off, which wasn't them.
Yeah. And
it makes them start fighting because I think it was them. And then years and years and years go by, and they're still fighting this war. And the same thing happens where it's kind of a master chief of samurai, then a master chief of Viking, very higher ups have the same moment where. Wait, we don't need to be fighting, and they calm down again. And then you see the narrator from like behind a bush shoots an arrow into the Viking, and it makes the Viking just go like into a rage, and they start fighting again. So they're constantly fighting the three of them, but it makes it seem like there's somebody else behind the scenes who's kind of using them as puppets to keep them fighting. So I think it's going to actually have a really interesting story.
Okay. So, last question. It seems like a lot of the fun is coming from playing against other people. If you didn't have, if the game wasn't online, if you didn't have an internet connection to play against other people, would the game still be fun, or is most of the fun from playing against other people in PvP?
I don't think the game would be as much fun, to be honest, playing just 1v1 over and over again against the AI. Because, I mean, whenever you choose to play 1v1, and if it's always AI, I've noticed that it random rolls it. So you could be playing, 12 different characters each time. And, I mean, those matches could be fun, but it's going to be a definite amount of time it's going to be fun for them. Playing 5v5, if you're playing you and 4 other AI on your team and against 5 other AI, those matches are going to be lasting a lot longer for fun level, because they're going to change every single time. The map's going to be different every single time. You actually have the option to choose what map you want to go to next after a match finishes, and it keeps you with the same group of people. So you can keep going map to map to map unless people drop out. And the fun level is that you can always keep upgrading your characters. There's actually a big season thing that they have, to where they have daily challenges. They have weekly challenges. They have monthly challenges. Then they have season challenges. So in every season, I believe, is 8 weeks, so 2 months. So all of those get you different benefits from accomplishing different like little mini tasks, like revive this many players, or defeat this many of this type of enemy, or capture this many points. So it gives you a reason to go to different game modes while there, and that way you can get more gear and level up your characters at the end game. So, I mean, yeah, it definitely would have a finite amount of time it's going to be fun for if you have no one to play against. That's kind of the key factor of this thing, being in your enemy's mind. But even if you don't have anyone to play with, it's still going to be a good level of fun. It may not be 100%, but definitely up in the 70s for fun. Cool.
Yeah, sounds good. Just hearing you talk about it has sold me more on the game than seeing it played at conferences and stuff for the past year. Because honestly, I was like, this game looks super boring. And like, you go run up to some guy and then you're picking, all right, well, I'm going to attack high and he's attacking to the right. So I got to make sure that I connect. And I'm able to block now because I'm down here and we're both picking lower right or whatever. So it just seemed really boring, and it seemed more like a hurry up and wait type of a gameplay, which I was not digging.
I think that you're definitely right. What you touched on for your first question is definitely going to be one of the pain points people might see out there, is that I don't like how it controls, or I don't like the way that they're moving. I think that those people might try to give up before they try other characters, because they might think that that's how all their characters are. If you try this game and you want to give it a shot, definitely play around with the characters, because I said there's some that may match you. There's some that definitely will not match you.
And you said all the characters are unlocked from the start, right? Like each one of the...
In the beta, they were.
Okay. So, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so in the beta, they were. So what it is that you get the first 3 primary players.
Yeah.
And you get 2,000 coins. To recruit someone to customize them, it's 500 coins per character.
Okay.
But you can play as anyone you want, but you can't customize them unless you recruit them.
Gotcha. That makes sense. If you could do that in the main game, that would make sense.
So, I mean, I tried all the characters. I really have like my kind of 4 out of the 9 that I really enjoyed, but I want to venture off. I mean, I think that when I was watching the streams myself, because I watched some streams before I even jumped into the beta, because I was at my son's practice, it was, I was like, okay, this looks like it's going to be either too difficult or too repetitive. Honestly, this could be one of those games where you're sitting there by yourself and just on the edge of your seat, or this could be one of those games where you and like 3 other friends are, sitting back, relaxing, drinking, playing Sports Club VR, and just like cheering you on, like, like just jumping into it like locally without them even playing. They kind of get that emotion with you about where you are in the match, where you connect with it. So I'm excited for it. I definitely plan on picking it up. I requested a review copy. Hopefully I can get that. If I can't, then I'm still going to pick up the game and do a review about it. So,
cool. This game comes out when?
It comes out on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
So the 14th of February.
Very soon.
not next week, but the week after.
Mm-hmm.
So within 2 weeks.
Very cool.
So definitely check that out for you guys. Hopefully you enjoy that. My impressions of For Honor. Again, like I said, it comes out February 14th. I definitely recommend one last thing is that it's kind of the control scheme is designed for consoles, for PS4, for Xbox One. I would recommend. It's also available for PC, but you kind of you can control your buttons and your commands to what you want the layout to be. But it definitely looks like it's harder to play on that because it is designed for consoles. But guys, that's going to be our show. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. One last announcement before we go. Again, this is TarynTheHype Podcast, episode 13. We are going to have a special guest next week.
Hooray. That'll be fun.
So it's going to be my friend Julian Skelton. She will be on the show. She's going to have some of her own topics that she wants to talk about, and we'll have our normal show of things we want to talk about. So,
very cool.
So
wait,
guys,
so we're doing a special show with her, and we're recording another show that's just a regular
Same
one?
show.
Okay, so she'll be in for the whole thing.
Yeah, she'll be in for the podcast.
Got it.
Yeah. And then maybe we'll talk about Switch.
Cool.
On that show. But she's a very big PC player, but she also has a PS4, and she's a huge anime lover, so we'll have a lot to talk about.
Cool. Can't wait.
Awesome, guys. So again, this has been TarynTheHype Podcast, episode number 13, lucky number 13.
Yeah.
Thanks you guys for joining us, and we're going to go ahead and make some videos for you and do some edits, get everything started. If you are a Patreon subscriber, you're going to get this tomorrow morning. If you're not, sorry, we still love you. You're going to get it next week, though, maybe closer to Tuesday, which is a normal release day for our episodes. Stay with us online on the Twitches and the YouTubes because we will always be doing Let's Plays. I will be doing more Let's Plays myself, and I will also be starting some new shows pretty soon here. So stay tuned for that on the Twitter. If you don't know where we are on Twitter, I am at Augie272 or TarynTheHype. Matt, you are on Twitter at
KrillinFlip337.
All right, guys. Well, that's been the show. Thank you again for choosing TarynTheHype. We'll talk to you soon, and have a great week.
Thanks for checking us out.
Go Falcons.